There have been sightings from New Jersey to California. Are they drones? Are they not?
It is an illusion which appears near real. That's what our experience has been in Bhuj area.
Why Bhuj why do you mention that?
14-15 years back, we actually fired a missile.
What was it then?
Illusion?
You're sure it wasn't a UFO?
No, 100%.
Do you believe it?
UFOs don't exist. Atmospheric diffraction, refraction, whatever happens, something which is happening thousands of miles away gets reflected here and gets picked up by the radars also.
If you were to tell me what you did in Kargil and how we used the Air Force.
The directions were very clear from Honorable Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. We will not cross the line of control. No Air Force has done it. I am being very frank about it. We were the first to start dropping a weapon which is commencing rolling at 35,000 feet. Out of 140 odd bombs that were dropped by the Mirage, I dropped about 42 of them.
Kargil, the Mirages were the main hero. Balakot, Mirages are still the hero. China, now they are talking about the sixth generation. Where are we, sir?
To make an aircraft, a country takes good about 20 to 25 years. 20 years from now, go for Amka, go for Tejas Mark, what have you. But in the interim, till your own things get online, don't think of make in India, just go ahead and procure. Have your strength, because it becomes too late otherwise.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. I have in the studio Air Marshal Dilip Kumar Patnaik, retired, Kargil war veteran, who served as the Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Eastern Air Command. He joined the BJP in March 2024. In addition to discussing the situation in Bangladesh, we will also be discussing the shortfalls in the fighter jets and support aircraft in the Indian Air Force. Joining me in the podcast is my colleague Ajit Dubey. Thank you, Air Marshal Patnaik, for being part of our podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Ajit and I are looking forward to discussing a whole gamut of issues with you. I'll begin with, there have been sightings from New Jersey to California. There are these sightings. Are they drones? Are they not?
What I can understand, because in India also we had this is something known as an inversion layer, which replicates something which is flying, say, hundreds of kilometers away. Because of inversion layer, even the radar picks it up. And visually also it has happened. It happened in Bhuj, where people have fired at a thing which is looking like an aircraft. A missile has gone, it doesn't hit. Later on, after many trials, you get to know it's a inversion issue. So it's quite possible, in East, when I was there have been many cases of lights being reported by our troops. It came, it hovered and it went. So there are times refraction makes it appear as if it is close by. They have shown us pictures also that this is the light, this is what it has done. But it is happening somewhere else.
No, like, can you explain, sir? Like troops, Indian troops report, army troops report that we have seen aircraft.
Not aircraft, lights.
Lights. Lights of like what type?
Blinking lights, this lights, that light. They have mentioned. Where we have gone and positioned our helicopters there. The moment it is gets picked up, we'll send the helicopters to shoot it down. But by the time the helicopter gets airborne, it goes missing. Actually, it is a reflection, and it's a rare phenomenon. So, which even Americans, because who in his right mind will switch on a light at night and come and start doing things? If like it happened during the Balakot strike, everything was off. Mark my words, next year, December 25, again something will happen, because the weather pattern is such, because of inversion, all these things are happening. Otherwise, actually, it is an illusion which appears near real. That's what our experience has been in Bhuj area and even in East sector.
Why Bhuj? Why do you mention that?
Bhuj is that because we actually fired a missile.
So
this was when, sir?
This is about 14-15 years back. We fired a
you
missile.
fired thinking it's a UFO?
Not UFO. It's an aircraft.
Thinking it's an aircraft.
Who fired it, sir?
It was Rai, Sucharu Rai.
But you never take it
from a MiG-21, Bison. So he thought it's an aircraft.
He was sure.
He was sure, and he fired at it. thinking
it?
that a Pakistani has come inside.
So what was it then?
Illusion?
It was an illusion. You're sure it wasn't a UFO?
No, 100%.
Do you believe it?
UFOs don't exist.
You
to
think
my
that?
mind. I'm 100% sure.
Why? You're a man of science, that's why.
It's not because of science. It looks unrealistic that UFO of a different planet will come and start doing things. It's good for...
But what are these mysterious sightings?
Sightings will happen. It will continue to happen. That's why I'm saying wait for December 2025. We'll have something similar because the atmospheric diffraction, refraction, whatever happens, something which is happening thousands of miles away gets reflected here and gets picked up by the radars also.
Okay.
How does it fool the radar? That's what I...
It doesn't fool the radar, no? Radar also picks up.
Huh. So the radar is picking it up as a foreign object, right?
Huh.
It's not picking it up as a light. It's picking it up as an object.
Yeah.
So if a radar is picking it up as an object, that means there is some physicality to it, not just...
It just can't be illusion.
No,
the radars.
it happens with illusion also. That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Unlike what they shot down a Chinese balloon many months back. It was a Chinese balloon. There are times when even a balloon starts shifting. It has happened in our country also. They have sent up balloons up with high reflection material to start showing that it's a aircraft which is coming, but the rate at which it is coming, the rate it is moving gives you the idea as to what it has actually done. So, as we speak, I understand it. Maybe I may be proven wrong. I don't think so. That some actual UFO has come, but if you ask me, it's illusion.
So what happened to this incident of an officer shooting a missile at an aircraft, and how did we arrive at the conclusion that it was an illusion?
It kept happening in the same manner. Like
was it only
no,
this
no.
officer who was seeing aircraft, or there were others?
People have spotted it on the ground. People have seen on the radar. Then next year, almost same time, it has happened. And in fact, it happened post Balakot also.
Now, the Americans have a big UFO culture. There are a lot of websites, magazines. Earlier magazines were dedicated to these UFO findings. They have their conspiracy theories. Why is it not that strong? Like, why don't we have, why do you think we don't have any such thing? We don't have this strong UFO culture, sighting culture here in India. Like you are saying, light plays games here as well. So,
yeah, you've got to give a lot of credit to our mythological aspects. What they are discussing now, we already had it before. We had.
Kaise?
How did Ravan take Sita?
okay, that was okay.
So we have a lot of stories already there. So it's there in our mind कि ऐसा होता है, हो सकता है, हो रहा है finally because he had his whatever it is called Pavan क्या?
The Pushpak Viman.
Pushpak Viman. He had the Pushpak Viman. Who would in his right mind 100 years back would have thought that there will be something like a Pushpak? But he talked about 1,000 years back. So it as a Indian, as a Sanatani, you know कि ब्रह्मास्त्र भी है, ये भी है, ऊपर फेंक दिया वायर ऐसा करके
The Vaimanika Shastra.
So
Have you read it?
No.
Okay.
But I think as Indians we are already conditioned to accept certain degree of non-possible things as possible from the way we have been brought up.
Your stealth aircraft is supposed to be something which...
Everything has been there in our mythological books, be it Mahabharata. The many, like for example, Ashwathama Maro wala jo story hai.
Ashwathama Hatho, yes.
Whatever. Sunset ho gaya, mar gaya, then again sun came up. But whoever thought they're talking about a total solar eclipse?
That was Jayadrat. Ashwathama is Sai.
Whatever. No, they said na sunset se pehle mar jayega.
That was Jayadrat, sir.
Whatever, huh.
But the shadow over the sun was that.
But the chap that time had written कि पूरा अंधेरा हो गया, वो सब then again sun came up. And that's what the Mahabharata story says. But what they had catered for was a total solar eclipse which happened
during the course of the war.
नहीं हाँ इन देयर वॉर इट हैपेंड इंडिया में भी हुआ था एक बार व्हेन दे सेड कि आंख बंद कर दो एकदम
Yeah, Neem ka Thana was center of attraction at that time.
Let me come to Kargil. If you were to tell me what you did in Kargil and how we used the Air Force.
And like talking about dropping of bombs on humans, enemy soldiers,
Yeah.
you are an expert, you are a veteran of that.
During Kargil, I was a young boy. I still am a young boy. I was a young squadron leader. I was number 4 down and number 3 down in the squadron.
1999 we are talking.
1999.
You were in
7th squadron.
7th squadron.
Yeah. You know, people say कि फौज में ज्वाइन किया मेरे मातृभूमि की रक्षा के लिए and all that. Everything is fine. That is there. What triggers you, gets your adrenaline going is when you hear that the enemy is causing irreparable damage, killing people in the line of control is what gets you. So when the Mirages were inducted, we got inducted sometime around 5th or 6th of June, 4th, 5th of June. It was 26th, 27th when first Ahuja got shot down.
26, 27 May.
May.
Then
A day later, Nachiketa.
Nachiketa. Then we had my own course mate Pundir. An helicopter got shot
Yeah,
down.
the Me-17.
Me-17 got shot down. And amongst all this, every evening there used to be a briefing wherein a lot of army people have lost their lives because of shelling that was continuously happening. So that was boiling on to us कि भाई कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. We can't sit and watch. So those days, way back in 99, when Kargil happened, we did not have the complete wherewithal, including the weapon. The Mirage 2000 initially had only Matra laser-guided bomb and some Belugas and BAP 100 weapons. We did not have the weapons that is required. So we have to give credit to Air Marshal Ahluwalia, who was the AOC of Gwalior.
Air Marshal putting later CNCWSC.
He was the AOC. He is the person who ensured that the laser-guided bombs paveway kit got operationalized at Gwalior. When we were operating from Adampur, he had a team of people. He ensured that the 1,000-pounder normal dumb bombs which were there, that could be fixed and utilized, which we actually utilized during Kargil. So we need to give a lot of credit to he and his team in Gwalior. And we had Air Marshal now, that time Wing Commander Nambiar, who was also part of that. We had one technical officer by the name of Ravi. These 4 or 5 people, under the guidance of Air Marshal Ahluwalia, did a lot of innovative actions, which otherwise it would have at least taken 6 months to 1 year. And I must say, even Israel helped us in ensuring that whatever upgrades that we are doing, they were able to give inputs.
But in May, the decision was not to use the Air Force, Indian Air Force, to cross the LOC. That was a decision in May. That's what at least I remember.
That time
restrict the use of Air Force. That was
the directions were very clear from Honorable Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji that you go and drop, you will not cross the line of control.
Yeah.
Aircraft will not cross the line of control. So that would actually entail that you are dropping bombs in your own territory. Then what has enemy got to do with it? Because these infiltrators had crossed across and into our territory. So if you are bombing in your own territory, there can't be any international repercussions. So his directions were catering for a possible international backlash had we crossed the line of control.
So you have to do very pinpoint targeting, right?
That is what I'm telling you. It's not easy. They were about 6 kilometers, 5 kilometers from the line of control. When they are 5 kilometers, aircraft that you are flying is flying at 550 knots, which is close to 1100 kilometers, 1000 to 1100 kilometers. Just a turn, a slight turn, if you don't turn tight enough,
you are in LOC.
You are across the LOC.
And you have then violated your civilian Prime Minister's instructions.
You can't do that. He was very, very clear, and I can say with all firmness that we followed our PM's directions.
With not much of elbow room that you were
Unlike your enemy, which didn't even tell it their which didn't even tell their prime minister that they are crossing the LOC.
There are versions to that.
Yeah.
There is whether he was told or not, or maybe Nawaz Sharif was listening to
I
Mohammad
don't
Rafi
know
at that
about.
time.
I can tell you one thing that while Nawaz Sharif may or may not have been informed, but their Air Force was definitely not informed what Musharraf was up to. That is where, as a student of military history, I can turn around and say without any doubts, you don't get the Air Force in, then you are in for trouble. And he went into trouble for that.
And he did not get the Air Force in.
He didn't.
For our viewers and listeners, radio intercepts and diaries which were captured from soldiers, Pakistani soldiers, during and after the operation by ground forces of India show that there was severe psychological damage which was done on Pakistani soldiers who did not think that Indian Air Force strikes would happen and they would happen unopposed. At that Pakistan did not send any aircraft to back their ground troops. Whereas India kept saying that Air Force would not be used, but Air Force was used. At least they were going by Indian media reports, who were told कि नहीं Indian Air Force use नहीं होगा, but Indian Air Force ultimately use हुआ, effectively use हुआ, and दूसरी side से पाकिस्तानी Air Force ने कुछ नहीं किया to back their troops. Am I right in saying this?
I would just add one more thing. They didn't have a choice. I'll tell you why. Indian Air Force that time, the Mirage 2000, had something known as the 530T Beyond Visual Range Missiles, BVRs. Pakistan did not have, the F-16s did not have. So initial sorties that we used to fly, we used to pick them up. They were about 40 kilometers. They know the range of a beyond visual effective range about 20-25 kilometers. So they used to come, we used to pick them on the radar. They used to turn around, moment they used to touch 30 kilometers. Because they probably knew our Prime Minister has told not to cross.
Not to cross.
So we are not going to chase them. So they could come as close as 30 to 35 kilometers and because moment our radar is on, he will get a indication on that is a Mirage 2000 and he's got a 530D with him. So
how does he know what you have on your Mirage? Weaponry?
Everyone knows. We bought it. So they know. Like we know they have AF-7R. It's a hint information. Okay. They will know.
Okay.
Like
you flew to the border and were you aware that it's okay?
Yeah, because his radar is also on. And
his radar is on. My radar moment we used to reach short of the line of control, we used to turn around. So their ground radar must be telling ki that chap is turn around. So they used to turn around. Moment they used to turn around, their radar used to be picked up on our RWRs. Okay. And we used to get that symbol F. Moment we used to turn around. So that cat and mouse game started for initial 2-3 days, 4 days.
How many times did you do this?
2-3 times, 2-3-4 days. After they also gave up, they stopped coming this side.
Okay.
So that part which you say that their Air Force was not there to support them, this is where Musharraf went wrong. A, he did not keep their Air Force in line. B, their Air Force did not have the capability to take on beyond visual range missiles. Unlike Balakot time, where they had the AIM-7Fs, they also have the BVRs, almost similar.
Did they use that against Abhinandan's aircraft?
Whether they used it against Abhinandan,
but they had it.
They had because it fell in our territory.
Oh, yeah.
They did fire it.
They fired it.
Yeah.
It was AIM-7 was fired and it fell on our territory.
If you remember that exciting day of February 26, 27, we had the pictures of it on ground, fired from Pakistani aircraft, and they were found in Indian territory. Okay. Which were even later shown at the press conference, which was held on 28th or 29th.
28th.
Tell us about what happened on Tiger Hill when you were there, when you flew over it.
If you see the topography of that area, Tiger Hill top is one of the places from where the entire Dras-Kargil road is in line of sight. So what their job was to position people there, and they had artillery guns being fired on the road, and there is something known as fire for effect.
Who had? Pakistan. We had already started with Bofors, right? Not yet.
No, Bofors came much later. What happens? How does the artillery fire? It fires 1 or 2 rounds to see where the impact is taking place.
Huh.
So then he's told to make correction, okay, 30, 40,
Left,
right,
okay.
left, right, like that. Then when he fires 2, 3, 4, and moment he says, okay, it is hitting the tire, then they fire for effect. So this job can be done only when you know where the shells are falling. So this job was done from Tiger Hill, because from Tiger Hill you could see the entire route and know where exactly the artillery shells are falling.
For the entire sector, to others also.
No, from Tiger Hill it was a good sector for about 40 to 50 kilometers.
कितने मीटर पे होगा? 5.
From Tiger Hill is
This is the highest
the
feature
highest.
of that area.
Huh.
And they could, so it had two edges. One is, as you see Tiger Hill, one is the eastern edge.
Nala and
No, eastern edge and the western edge of Tiger Hill. So that famous TV which is there, where you can see the bomb falling on them, people and they're dying. So that was causing the biggest problem for our ground forces, because the area is very, very steep. So to recapture that, anyone who's sitting on top and firing at you, even if he throws a stone at you, your soldier cannot take it, because you have to actually go to Tiger Hill to know how difficult it is for a person who is going from bottom to upper.
Okay.
So to take on that place, even if they have 10 people there, they can take on a 200 strong ground forces which is coming from upper. So ratios are close to 1:20, because they have advantage. These chaps, they can't see what is happening and they get shot. So that is the biggest problem which was being faced by our army. So that is what the right side was taken by Air Marshal Nambiar. At that time he was wing commander. It was a beautiful shot wherein...
So actually the shot which we see, the missile taking off and hitting the target, causing the destruction, that fire lighting up that entire Pakistani post, that missile was fired by Air Marshal Nambiar.
Yeah, by daytime.
The daytime.
So now once they were told, okay, the eastern side has been taken, when army started going up, then they saw resistance from the western side.
Okay.
Now western side was taken on at night by, again, Nambiar and me.
Okay.
The first night hit on Tiger Hill using a laser guided bomb was done by me. So,
Mirage.
Mirage 2000, again with laser guided bomb.
First time you were using those night lasers, right?
Yeah.
And these were paveway, sir?
Paveway kits.
Paveway kits. Okay. Israeli.
Paveway kits with 1,000-pounders belonging, made by India.
Made by India. Okay.
That is where you have to give credit to Air Marshal Ahluwalia, because this integration of paveway kit with the 1,000-pounders, which is a made in India thing, brought down the cost to very, very low.
But had you conducted exercises with those at all?
No. That was first time within time.
So that ordnance was not even used
Never.
before. So you had no clue
No,
about
I'll tell you.
the weight, the precision. How did you do it? And that also night operation.
So what happens is, while we were operating from Adampur, 2-3 of us used to come back, take the store, drop it at Pokhran, see its efficacy, and then get to know, okay, this is how it behaves, then we use it. It's not ki seedha use kar liya. So this 1,000-pounder clean usage was done by me and one squadron leader, Mohan Rao, that time. He was a flight commander, I was a deputy. So both of us had come back to Gwalior, loaded the bombs, went to Jodhpur, from there dropped it at Pokhran. Why I will tell you is, we had never dropped a bomb from heights of 35,000 feet. Never. No Air Force has done it, because this is the highest altitude, because the altitudes were 16,000 feet. Because they had shot down one aircraft actually, Ajay Ahuja's aircraft, that means we knew they had Stinger class of missiles. So we had to be safe. Suppose base is 16,000, add 10,000, 26,000.
Which they were never supposed to use against India when they got the Stingers.
No,
it
we
was
don't
only
know.
supposed to
we
be
still
for
don't know whether
Afghanistan.
it's Stinger or what. But
okay.
So 26,000 was the lowest height that we could come down to. Now when you are dropping a bomb, you have to start at about 35 to 40,000 and start pulling out at 30,000, because the mush takes the aircraft
Will
another
they take it
5,000.
down? Okay.
So you're starting actually at 35,000.
Huh.
So 35,000, the aircraft behavior is different.
Okay.
So that is what we wanted to see. How does it behave, the aircraft? Because no Air Force has done it. I'm being very frank about it. We were the first to start dropping a weapon which is commencing rolling at 35,000 feet. So what happens when your aircraft is on about 30 degrees dive? Your throttle is fully back, your air brakes is out, because weapon carriage has its own limitations. It cannot cross 0.9 Mach. And if your power is there, and in the same time you have to designate and see where it is hitting and make sure it is correct. Why? Because your own forces are very close by. You make a mistake, you will be dropping bombs over your own forces. So that is the kind of precision that was required, which is very difficult for a person to comprehend as to why he is talking this way. It was not easy. That's why what you said, ki jaise jaake kar liya, that is what we went and practiced. Ki if we practice like this, then the error is about, say, 50 meters. So 50 meters, 25 meters is okay with us. Moment the error is more than 50 to 100 meters, in those hill features, your own people will die, your own army, and they will curse you. We made sure that none of our weapons hit any of our own people, because they were very close by. Not that they wanted to be close by, they didn't have a choice. If they are not close by enough, the attack would take another 2-3 days, then reinforcements will come. You understand?
Yeah.
So that is why it is important that this coordination could happen in a good manner.
Okay.
And sir, this was around the time you people hit the Munthodalo camp also.
It started with Munthodalo actually.
And who was flying at that?
That was led by me, Munthodalo camp.
Okay.
It was, Munthodalo was a place where they had good about 200 people staying there. 200. They had igloos made and they were staying there. They had snow scooters also to go to the...
And how far is it? How far is it from Tiger Hill, sir?
From Tiger Hill is about 100 kilometers.
Okay. And this Munthodalo camp was basically supplying, of the Pakistanis, was supplying equipment and weapon, ammunition to all the camps.
Munthodalo is a kind of a ball where they had artillery guns.
Okay.
And they had positioned their correcting people, artillery correction people in all top hills. So gradually, if you remember, a few days before that, when Atalji was supposed to visit Kargil, they had destroyed the ammunition dump at Kargil.
At Kargil.
They had managed that because they could initially fire, see where it is falling, and finally fired for effect, and that place got hit. So they did all this planning very well. Only thing, they had not catered for getting their air force in line, so they failed.
And what date? Please explain this Munthodalo to us, sir, because I think nobody talks about it. But I think that is where we took out around 200 of their people.
It was the beginning of the end for them. Initially, to start with, that's what I am saying. That when we started looking for that place, we had issues of satellite imagery. We had issues of what that place looks like, because what satellite imagery we had was of March, where everything was snow-clad. Then April, May, the snow started gradually melting. So the place started looking different. So whatever we had in our memory, and to stay safe from the missiles, we couldn't go down to their levels. We had to be at least 30,000 feet. So the difference was still 15,000 feet. So from 15,000 feet to see visually was out of the question. You can't pick up.
Because of the snow and white surroundings?
No, your eyes can't see 15,000 feet. So what we used is this lightning pod, which is an Israeli pod. We used to do area search. And it gets reflected in a small head-down display in the Mirage aircraft. You don't get to know. Only when you get back, we used to replay the tape on the big screen.
With the pods were what, drop down? No.
Which
the
pod?
pods that you're talking about.
The lightning pod?
No, it doesn't drop. It records.
Records. Okay.
It has got magnification, got lenses, got camera, it's got everything.
So we procured it during the war?
No, we had procured it, but not operationalized. This operationalized was done by Air Marshal Ahluwalia in Gwalior.
Okay, all right.
So
Sorry,
earlier,
I interrupted. Yeah.
Earlier what we had was the Patrick, which is a French one. Which had its own issues, and it was only a daytime pod. This was both day and night you could see.
And this lightning pod is known as, sir?
Lightning only.
No, any name like the French one is Patrick.
This is lightning.
Okay, this
So
is lightning.
so this pod was necessary because you were going to bomb it at night anyway.
No, I think to find out the location of the
Topography.
Pakistanis, we had to.
We when we started replaying it on a normal TV, even those days we didn't have like these days we have just Wi-Fi laga ke on kar do. That was also done on Jugaad. You have to get a wire, sit in front of the camera, keep running, and it was discovered while replaying it. One chap moving around in that camp. We knew we have spotted it, but we didn't know where it is physically. Because when you drop a bomb, you have to designate it. You have to tell the aircraft that this is where I want the bomb to go. And with no coordinates, so next day morning, me, Mohan Rao went in 2 trainers. We orbited for good about 40 minutes just to see ki bhai kidhar hai. And I spotted it along with my chap who was a rear tokeker. Okay, this is the place. Now came Atalji's direction ki you don't have to cross the line of control. So there we did that. Which is the best way without crossing line of control? How do we hit it? Because it's just 4-5 kilometers from line of control. So chose a direction because we had to hit it also. We have to make sure it is effective also. So keeping all this, then within 1 hour we came back. Bombs were loaded onto the aircraft. All of us went. 4 aircraft.
Date, sir?
16th of June, I think.
So 4 aircraft go.
Tiger Hill was hit on 24th, 25th of June. This happened.
Munto Dhalo in.
As you said, the beginning of the end started on.
From
16th.
there, that gave us the confidence because
So please tell us.
the
continue
4
on
aircraft.
on the 4 aircraft, sir.
So this 4 aircraft next day, because we had seen visually where it is to go. So we went, we hit it, and normally we have something known as bomb damage assessment, BDA aircraft which goes, a lightning pod. But that day, somehow what happened, that aircraft became unserviceable. So we didn't have the picture of the bombs and the killings that happened. So we went next day again. That time we went with a podded chap who's filming what was happening. You should have seen, I have got it here, I'll show it to you. Before and after pictures. Before how the camp was, after how the camp was. And about 10-15 days later, again I went and hit that place again because they started recovering those people. I went and hit them again. There were 2 of us that time. This is about for 23rd, 24th of June. Went and hit them. So total close to 200 people must have gone there. So that was what was the most backbreaking.
Total 200
Casualty.
plus people must have gone there. Sir, please explain this.
Casualties.
Gone to
Jannat or whatever.
Jannat or wherever they were destined for.
When they were not admitting कि उनके कोई भी आए थे वहाँ पे.
Avi, they have started accepting.
Benazir first, I think, said 3,000 or something.
About 1 month back or 1.5 months back, they have started accepting the fact that
क्या था उनका? Light
regular
infantry,
soldiers.
some light.
They called
Northern
it
Light.
NLI.
Northern Light
Infantry people.
That entire one whole, how many divisions were khatam karoed, na? They wrapped up that completely, right? Northern Light
They had
Infantry.
to. They didn't have a choice because what happens in Pakistan, I'm not concerned. We did our job and did a good job out of it. I'm very happy about it.
And your gallantry medal is for the Munthodalo operation or the entire?
Munthodalo is one of them. It's ये नहीं कि Munthodalo कर दिया अब बैठ जाए इधर. No, it is continuous process. So we kept flying. I have in fact dropped the maximum bombs. Out of 140 odd bombs that were dropped by the Mirage, I have dropped about 42 of them. Maximum. Total. Well, एक साथ तो 12, 14, 12 bombs and 6 bombs ऐसा करके खूब डाला है.
I think you खूब डाला है. Like I like the way you say.
It's like I tell my friends, अरे उस दिन तो मैंने 8 story की, 9 story की. It's like.
But the training that you got in that Kargil operation to do this pinpointing strike, it must have been a phenomenal experience, right? Those who.
I'll tell you one thing. We had our we are operating from we were ex Gwalior, which came under Central Air Command, but operating from Adampur, which came under Western Air Command. Air Marshal Vinod Patni, later he became Vice Chief. He came and I gave him the briefing as to this is what we intend to do. Then he came and told us one thing, something known as battle inoculation. Battle inoculation is something which doesn't come. If anyone says that you are not scared, he's wrong. Everybody is scared because it's your own life. You are likely to be hit. And keeping that in mind, initial sorties. In fact, the first sortie that I went with 12 bombs, it is something I'll never forget because it's the first time we are carrying so much of bomb. Because when the aircraft becomes heavy, it takes up the end of the runway. That means there are hardly about 200 meters left when the aircraft gets airborne. Never seen such a situation. So that is one. Second is that fear of unknown is there, whether you will come back or no. Family at home is just not aware because family used to ask, "Kidhar hai?" I am sitting in Adampur, no problem. They don't know that our aircraft from Adampur is going 500 kilometers north. They came to know much, much later. Then it was almost getting over. Then they start getting angry. Then you would have started crying. Anyway, coming back to dropping this.
I met your wife. I don't think she would have started crying. That wouldn't have happened.
No.
They are stressed, of course.
The stress is there. Idea is not to stress them.
Yes.
But that fear is there. Anyone says who doesn't have fear is telling a lie. But you overcome that fear after 1 or 2 missions. From third mission onwards, you're tiger. Okay. So, and I will also say that that is where the man in you comes out.
What about battle scars? After having dropped bomb on enemies, hundreds dead. When you come back, when you're retired, when you think back, anytime you have any kind of dreams, nightmares?
In my case in particular, earlier days, you could see whom you are killing. In my case, we just knew that target was this, before this had happened, after this has happened. This is. So, since you're not shooting or killing anyone directly, that repentance or feel bad factor is not there. And this gets further enhanced primarily because you are doing it with a purpose. You are getting back at someone who has not followed his dharma or procedures correct and killed someone and causing damage to you. So, because we have not seen it, I have not seen it, but I know from my bombs at least 200, 300 people must have died. I have no doubts about it. But do I regret it? The answer is no. Because I have not seen it happen.
And for a larger goal?
There is no doubt.
I want to hear all about the Balakot operation, 26th February 2019. You were actively involved in that. Could you tell me, before we start doing the questions, tell us in your own words what happened then?
I was the ACS Air Defense. I was at Air Headquarters. People call it Balakot, but it is actually Jubba Top, where these people were undergoing training. And
Jaish-e-Mohammed.
And it was known that it's a training location. And after what had happened on 14th of Feb at Pulwama, I must say that it needs guts to take a action of this kind, because it was the first time a target was chosen, which was, though it is within Pak-occupied Kashmir, but across the line of control. Good about 40-50 kilometers across the line of control.
But is it part of POK or
It's
is
KPK.
it Khyber Pakhtunkhwa?
It is very close to KPK, very close to the POK only. Let's put it this way.
Okay. In KPK, but very close to the POK.
But well across the line of control. Well across the line of control. So, fair enough, a decision was taken. We had the capability. We used the Spice 2000 bombs were utilized. And it was a classic case of hoodwinking the Pakistanis by having a pincer kind of a thing wherein some attacks were done in the south and diverted their attention, and this attack happened around 2:33 in the morning.
Why was this chosen as a target? Because so far, whatever wars we have fought with Pakistan have been basically border wars. Nothing so much into depth of Pakistan. Even the
surgical strike
yeah.
of 2016 was a border attack.
Yeah, that was ground attack.
Ground attack, very close to
This
the border.
like the government had said, it was an int-based operation wherein it was realized that training of these militants was being undertaken there, and some kind of a message being sent across कि wherever you are, we will hit you. So that was one place where actual training of this people who are being sent across the line of control was done. So that's how it was the job of the int to identify where and what it is happening, and an option was asked. Option probably was told that we can hit it, so it was hit.
When you said pincer strike, what does that mean?
Pincer means giving an wrong feeling, pseudo feeling, because they knew that something India is going to do post Pulwama because of.
So the government of India statement initially was they didn't mention that it was anything to do with a counter attack. The words used was non-military preemptive action taken in the face of imminent danger. How is it a non-military action, preemptive action? When you are bombing something, isn't it? I mean, logically, I would think that अगर bomb फेंक रहे हो तो वो military तो हुआ वो कोई you're not exactly throwing roses, are you?
That briefing was given by the MEA,
yes,
not
MEA.
the armed forces.
Correct.
MEA
there were these conflicting things which are coming.
It's a diplomatic language, I guess.
Okay.
So I will not be able to answer that question. So, but it was given by the MEA, and it was none of the Air Force. Our Air Force people were there. Air Marshal RGK Kapoor, who was the ACS int, he was there. And this was done after the swift retort which happened the next day, where Abhindandan had ejected and all next day.
Yeah. So that day when the strike happened, did you think your aircraft will be able to come back, is what I want to know. Did you think that they would be shot down after? Was that one of the things that you take into consideration?
I was very clear. They will all come back because we are watching everything live. What was happening? Everything was being seen. The night operation that you're talking about.
Yes.
It was being seen. If someone gets airborne, you can pick them up. It was a composite task force. It had AVACs involved. It had our radars involved. And we had full picture as to what is happening. So there was no doubt that they will come back. There was no doubt.
And sir, when the aircraft took off, you're talking about a pincer attack that you
Dissuade. I wouldn't say it's a pincer. It was a dissuasive action.
It was like fooling the enemy. So can you tell us how it was done, sir, so that the people also understand how
many aircraft went?
How many aircraft? And
what I will say,
what is the formation?
What were they fooled to think? What did the Pakistanis think that you were going to attack? Where, if that is possible?
To the extent possible, all I can say is because the enemy, that is in this case Pakistan, was aware that there's some action that Indian Air Force is going to take. So they were thinking that some attack will happen south of towards the Punjab side. So rightfully, one odd means a group of aircraft get airborne, show themselves on the radar, and start heading towards that side, and then do a U-turn before crossing the IB. So when they do the U-turn is important because we have a 10 kilometers zone. If you go at high speed and do a U-turn, so they get airborne. You see everything on the radar these days because this is plains area. We have excellent radars which pick up. We saw them also getting airborne, trying to come this side, and they came back. So anytime an aircraft gets airborne, it has finite amount of time, about 2 hours, 1.5 hours that it can stay, and then finally doesn't have a choice but to land back. So these people landed back. The other main strike which was done, it was done in a very, very camouflage manner, wherein the plans were, people were sitting in the ATC at Delhi and various places just to make sure there is no much noise. It happened around 2:30 in the
Where
morning.
did they take off from?
So most of the aircraft took off from, from Gwalior.
From Gwalior.
From Gwalior, from Bareilly, from other places.
From different spots.
Different places. They all got together. They went to the extreme east, took a route which was extremely to the east, and then carried out the attack and came back. And most of the time, and there was AWACS also monitoring their route. And whatever the AWACS sees, it could be seen.
How many aircraft went back?
There were good about 40 aircraft total.
And all 40 returned, and you knew that all 40 will return.
There is no doubt.
So what happened when
40 means all 40 didn't go and strike, but it was a mission.
How did they not know when 40 aircraft are going
40, all
past?
40 didn't cross. Only
Okay.
about 12 of them crossed. It is only the sensors which are on ground or in the air, which has a radar which tells you a live image as to what is happening. For satellites to pick up, you have to have a IFF, that is the ADB or whatever, to tell you your position through the satellite. So that's why whenever the civil airlines fly, you know exactly where that aircraft is because he's transmitting his position throughout, through the satellite.
So the fighter aircraft were not
Fighter
doing
aircraft and all associated aircraft had their IFFs off. I mean, that's the way to do. So
when these go past, you were watching in Delhi.
yeah,
Okay. And
not only me, a lot of people were watching.
I'm sure. So when the pilots went, how long before an operation like this are the fighter pilots told that this is what you have to do? Like how much time is given to them to figure out? Because they know that they may not come back, right?
It's like this. It comes in the area of responsibility of Western Air Command. That
Okay.
time led by Air Marshal C. Hari Kumar. He was the CNC Western Air Command. He had his SASO, Air Marshal Dhillon. Then there is something in a command known as CATSPO, Command Air Tasking and Strike Planning. So there is a group captain there, youngster, who does all the planning. It gets approved up the line, and final clearance comes from the AOCNC, that was Hari Kumar. Okay, this is the plan to go. Then it is shown to the chief and the vice chief. So they are also aware. And then once the plan is made, then the pilots are told, okay, this is your route and this is your target.
How much time are they given to be told? 1 day, 1 week? What? How much?
So what they do is, just for the sake of secrecy, they are told multiple targets. Not one target, because you have to feed in this data onto the aircraft system. So when you have to feed in, you are given 3-4 this thing. And on that night, when it happened, everyone's mobile was taken away. They were told it's a normal recall kind of a thing. All those who went inside, there's a total blackout of information as to what is, nobody knew what is happening.
They don't know that from another station?
Nothing. So the person who knew about it was
the group captain.
Group captain and the AOCNC of Western Air Command.
Was the group captain also flying? No.
No. He is the chap who's done the planning, and he's more interested in what the next one going to be. Next
So
wave.
what rank are the fighter pilots? Are they the squad
They can
level?
be flight lieutenant, squadron leader, wing commander.
They're young, right?
No, they are the experts. Like I was also
Yeah, a fighter pilot, yes.
No,
I'm going to get to that
No.
part.
I was also in the CATSPO just 4 years before that. Same job which he was doing. I was also in the CATSPO.
Explain to our viewers and listeners what is CATSPO.
CATSPO is something which is there in every command.
It's Billi ka panja, in case people can't figure out.
That is actually the nerve center of each command. So he's the guy. He's got a group of about 5-6 people every day. then he gets augmented by another 10-15 people later. So what they do is, throughout their job is, every day they'll come out with plans, one plan, plan 2, plan 3. That plan consists of about 40-50 aircraft, how they will go, where they will join up, what is the fuel required, which is the weapon required, where are the weapons going to be positioned. It's not just weapon ka everything. Each weapon will need about 5, 6, 10, 15 items to be positioned. So from there, everything falls in place. So it's a very, very...
So now let's come back to Balakot. What were the weapons that they were carrying? Can you tell us that? The ordnance.
They are carrying basically, one is for self safety, they were carrying the missiles. The Mirages were carrying crystal maze as well as the Spice 2000.
It was the first time that we've used, right? For Spice?
In anger, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, they've been using Spice 2000. It's an Israeli bomb. So Spice 2000 was used. Then air-to-air Mika missiles were there. Then Su-30s had their own air-to-air missiles. And basic attack, ground attack was to be done by the Mirage 2000.
Okay.
And the support aircraft were carrying
the
air-to-air missiles.
The Sukhois came back, or they crossed?
No, they didn't.
They didn't cross.
They didn't cross.
But they were very close.
Okay, the Mirages crossed.
Mirages crossed.
Okay, how many crossed?
About 12 of them.
About 12. Okay, so everybody had complete confidence that all of them would come back.
There is no doubt. Because what happens is, when you see your own chaps going, it is Western Air Command which was handling the operation. We were just monitoring. They were the controllers. We have something known as, from the cat's paw, we also have nodes, air nodes, which do the final controlling. So that is the person who's sitting in this particular place where we have a node. From that node, he had inputs of everything: AVAX data, the airborne position of all the aircraft, everything they had, and any pickup which was coming from their side, it was getting picked up.
No, when all of you are sitting out there, you are aware at that stage that this is a historic thing which is happening, because since 1971, India has not conducted any airstrikes into Pakistan, and even when they did then it was different. Now it's different. You've chosen your targets. What is going on in your mind at that time? You must have joined the force after 71, right?
Yeah, very much.
So for you, it's the first time that you're watching
this
now?
time.
So
Kargil you've done. But crossing over?
No, that's what I'm telling you. This is the job of Western Air Command. They had people, they had the CNC, the SASO, the cat's paw, the Air One. They are monitoring from their side. What we were monitoring at Air Headquarters, they are also monitoring.
Okay.
So the responsibility and everything was with Western Air Command. Air Headquarters, we are just only the monitoring people.
So when you heard about Wing Commander Abhinandan being captured, what was the first thing that went in your mind?
We got to know he's captured through the media of Pakistan. We knew somebody had ejected, because it was an offshoot of next day, not next day actually.
It was on 27th, February 27th.
2 days after. Second day when people came, and as a reaction to that, some of our aircraft went to chase them. And that is the time when Abhinandan was one of the last people to go. And since he had to go at a very high speed in a MiG-21 Bison, where contact could not be established for him to return back. So he continued, and no threat could be informed to him. And he launched an offensive, and one of their aircraft got shot. And in the process, he also got shot. That is what had happened. Now, we got to know somebody had ejected from the media of their side, and gradually from our side also. So it took 1 or 2 hours to identify, because all the aircraft had returned except for one. And simultaneously, on the same day in the morning, there was a fratricide issue of Mi-17 getting shot down by our own forces.
The helicopter, no?
Mi-17. So in that melee of things, what actually happened was, it was only about 3-4 hours. By then, he had already come up in the media, and classic, fantastic,
Psyop.
behavior on the part of a fighter pilot. I think that is what led the nation to start looking up to him. Is he behaved in a very, very classic manner, couldn't care attitude. He was not worried about his life.
Drinking tea.
He was too much for the Pakistanis, I guess, because a POW who doesn't know what is in store for him to behave the way he was behaving, it's something which is unimaginable. Not that I'm a fighter pilot, I've not thought about it. Maybe we need to give the credit to him for his gung-ho attitude. That's what fighter pilot life is all about. And gradually, once
He became
and he's the only F-16 slayer in a
MiG.
MiG-21.
In history, right? Not.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think
he's
it's
the
ever
only one.
Has there been a dogfight ever between a MiG and an F-16? I don't know of any.
Not. This is the first time.
That's the first time,
It's a
and
bison.
he managed to bring it down. And the Pakistanis, Americans, nobody will ever accept that we got shot down by a MiG-21. So.
Not that I want to sing praises of a MiG-21 right now,
No,
but still,
but
Why
still,
not? Why not?
it's
quite a good aircraft.
like the pilot is praiseworthy if he has managed to do
he
it.
became an icon, right? That mustache of his, I know of so many people, and it became a big thing.
In fact,
at that time.
he was with me in Eastern Air Command, working in my ops section when I was there. He became a group captain. He was working there.
And then there was that entire thing of, him being brought back and the negotiations were what happened later. I won't get into the details of it, but there was a fear, a genuine fear that, as a POW, he would be broken or we would not get him back alive, because after what happened in Kargil, there was that fear. See, a lot of Pakistani media talks about how in '65 General Karyappa's son was apprehended, and at that time, the generals then they talked and said, "Your boy is with us. We'll take care of him." He was sent back. And then what happened in Kargil shocked even military strategists in Pakistan, because, when the mutilated body came back of our pilot, that was a shocker. Squad leader Ajay Ahuja. Now, when that happened, even Pakistani commentators say that shocked them, because they said that this is not the military which was trained by the British, where and we are one civilization. You fight a war, yes, but these are not the rules of engagement which the Indian military or the Pakistani military were trained initially. And they cited 65 and they said, what was this? This was a kind of a tactic which is not by a uniformed army, not by uniformed soldiers. Where while we in Kargil returned back the bodies and we buried the bodies in India with full military honors when they wouldn't take back, you had that situation. So when I'm being a little long in my question, but I just want to, for people who don't remember what happened how it was when Wing Commander Abhinandan came back, what a big achievement it was to bring him back. Could you give me a little backstory about how important it was to bring him back?
If you go back during Kargil, we had Nachiketa coming back also. That gave us the 100% hope that if Nachiketa came back, there is no doubt Abhinandan will also come back. It did take time because unlike Kargil, which the thing continued for good about 15-20 days after that, after he was captured, it continued about 15-20 days. Here, it's a matter of 4 days, 5 days. Within 4 days, he was back in India. And the fact of the matter is, once you show on media to the entire world that we have captured someone and he's with us, the Geneva Convention cuts in and there was no doubt that he will come back. Maybe it would have taken some time. But since there was a history of Nachiketa being returned,